Welcome home, such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
And welcome back to more Darkest Dungeon. We've arrived at the Darkest Devatron Estate? Oh yeah! Big time! Alright, so this is week 1, our first arrival in the hamlet. And you'll notice that a lot of these buildings aren't available yet. The Survivalist, Tavern, Sanitarium, Abbey, Guild, and Blacksmith won't get unlocked until we complete more quests. But there are a few buildings available, and let's check them out, starting with the Stagecoach.
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
Okay, so in the same way that every game starts with Renauld and Dismas on the old road, each game's week 1 starts with a Plague Doctor and a Vestal on the Stagecoach. Now, which skills come unlocked on the Plague Doctor and Vestal is totally random, as is which quirks they show up with, both positive and negative. So there is a little bit of a die roll at the beginning here, but these are the only 2 you can choose from, so you have to take them.
What better laboratory than the blood-soaked battlefield?
Now, the Plague Doctor roll was basically mediocre, not terrible, but not great. The Vestal roll, however, is very good. This one came with both the single target heal and the group heal. And in all the times I started this game, I don't think I ever saw that. It's either one or the other. And she has a couple nasty negative quirks, but she comes with Hard Skinned, which is 10% protection, which is very helpful early on. So a good Vestal roll.
A sister of battle, pious and unrelenting.
And while we're here, let's go ahead and inspect Renauld and Dismas. These 2 always start the game with the same skills that you see here and the same quirks. Renauld gets Warrior of Light, God-Fearing, and Kleptomaniac. Dismas gets Hard Noggin, Quick Reflexes, and Known Cheat. Now, he did pick up Meditator, which isn't great, but that was a reward for the Old Road quest that we just completed. But yeah, otherwise, this is how these guys always show up. And here we have the upgrade interface. Every building has one of these, and we're going to go ahead and upgrade the Stagecoach ASAP.
Word is traveling. Ambition is stirring in distant cities. We can use this.
Alright, so the Stagecoach networked twice to increase the amount of heroes that show up each week. Gives us more of a selection, and then here the barracks to increase our maximum roster size.
Great heroes can be found even here, in the mud and rain.
Alright, that'll do it for now for the Stagecoach. Up next is the Graveyard, hopefully a place we won't need to visit too often.
Most will end up here, covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
Okay, so this is where you pay homage to fallen heroes. Up next, the Ancestors' Memoirs.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
And this is where you can re-listen to voiced-over journal entries. And last, for now at least, the Nomad Wagon.
Trinkets and charms, gathered from all the forgotten corners of the earth.
And here is basically a shop where you can buy equipment for your heroes. And it's very good and very important, but because I tend to prioritize other things early on, and because there's such a huge premium on gold for much of the early and mid game, I don't end up upgrading this until much later. And then also in here is this shard dealer. He has some really nice one-of-a-kind trinkets, but he only accepts shards, which you acquire through doing the Color of Madness DLC.
A mecca of madness and morbidity. Your work begins.
And our work begins indeed, Devatron. The first quest of many to come. Only one available in the ruins, and only 4 heroes available to do it with. And this party composition even gets a nickname, the Usual Suspects.
The cost of preparedness, measured now in gold, later in blood.
And of all the narrator's pithy remarks, that may be the most accurate, measured now in gold, later in blood, referring to provisioning, what we're doing now, buying food and torches and shovels and whatnot. It's a very tricky game within the game, if you will. It's maybe the most important, yet the most subtle and oft overlooked detail of, going into a quest. But trust me, if you don't have enough shovels or enough food or torches, it's just remarkable how bad things can go and how quickly they can go bad.
Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood. As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms. Press this advantage. Give them no quarter. Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. A handsome reward for a task well performed. Even the cold stone seems bent on preventing passage. As the light gains purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear. Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive. Another one falls. As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Alright, so not too bad for our first couple of fights in here. The most concerning bit is how much stress is on our Plague Doctor. She got hit pretty hard for 20 stress right away. And one of the toughest parts about beginning this game is that there's no way to heal stress in a dungeon. Now, Renaud, as a Crusader, can learn that ability later, but he doesn't come equipped with it, so for now, we just can't heal any stress.
confidence surges as the enemy crumbles. The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it. A death by inches. Hacks laden with loot are often low on supplies.
Okay, so kind of a rough start there, getting surprised and shuffled. But we managed to get through it without too much stress, mind you. And despite having a key for this heirloom chest, it didn't have any heirlooms in it. So that was pretty disappointing. But we did get some food out of it with which we were able to heal a little bit.
Watch your step.
Okay, and there is the first of many 90% chance to succeed, yet we fail rolls. The game loves to just throw those at you. And I'm not exactly sure how it can justify. I hate to be one of these people that kind of complains about RNG and it's not really random, blah, blah, blah. But on the traps with the 90%, it's definitely not 90%.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all. Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken. The match is struck. A blazing star is born. The slow death, unforeseen, unforgiving.
Okay, a really nice fight there. Lucky that there weren't any stress dealers in that enemy group, and even more lucky that the room had a holy fountain in it. And a holy fountain is one of those curios that will do what it does. It heals and stress heals whoever touches it. but also the fact that we came into this dungeon with some holy water, and using it on that curio increased the amount of both the heal and the stress heal. So that was lucky in both regards, and especially considering we were pretty desperately needing a stress heal on our plague doctor there. Alright, and there's a hunger check, and guess when it happens? Right before this. Bam, the end of the dungeon. Imagine getting almost to the end and not having enough food, and then your entire party taking stress damage. A good example of how you need to properly provision, or things can go really, really bad. And here, we're already done with the quest. We don't need to do this last room, but it's listed on the map as a treasure room, so I wanted to do it and try to get as much loot as possible before we leave the dungeon.
Is the weapon that cuts on its own. Precision and power. Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall. Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
Alright, and that time the heirloom chest with the key, yielding a bunch of heirlooms and a victory on our first foray into the ruins. And a nice haul. Check out all this treasure, Devatron. We did kind of pay the price for that last fight in stress. Our plague doctor once again got hit right off the rip for 19. But a really nice fight, and let's see what we get in the way of quarks. Alright, so Slugger on Dismas is amazing. Bonus damage with melee attacks. Plutomania is kind of bad. And then Hard Noggin on our Plague Doctor, good. Stun resist. Bad Gambler, no big deal. As is Witness. Those just affect where you can relieve stress in town, which we don't really care about too much. So all in all, a really nice foray into the ruins. Our first mission down. Week 1 complete. Darkest Dungeon, Devatron. We'll see you in the next episode for Week 2.